Hi. Listen, we're still in post-election trauma. We're going to be in that position for some time, I suspect. And I want to talk to you about one of the aspects that's come up. It was, I always say these things are predictable. This one is too. And it has to do with the call for unity. The call for unity sounds really great. Sounds important. It sounds like it's something we should do. How are we going to move forward if we're not uniform, or that's not the word, but if we don't have a sense of social unity, and yet it's obvious we don't have political unity. So it's remarkable that this call for unity is coming up, and of course it comes up from the person who assumes that they've won the election, or the person who does win the election, Biden, in his I don't know what to refer to it, acceptance, or claiming that the election has gone his way. The media has called it. We know that's being challenged. At any rate, he's doing what all politicians do when they reach a point where they want to make a claim that they won. And what they're doing is they need to say that it was a hard-fought election. They want to maybe point out some of the things that were big and important in their campaign pitch, and all of that. And so with that comes this recognition, the obvious recognition, that there was a fight, a bloody fight to the rhetorical death. It's important to emphasize that the gloves come off, things get said, lies are going every which direction. The surrogates of the candidates do what surrogates do, and I'm going to repeat that. I mean, it's a fight to the rhetorical death. And then, the election happens and numbers are tallied, and somebody makes a claim that it's time to unite. Think about how absurd that is. Just pause for a moment. There certainly is the sincere positions that people take on political ideology and political positions, and they fight, tooth and nail for their position. They try to make a good case. Hopefully their rhetoric is sensible and sound. And that's, those are the people who are doing, a good job at it. And then, there's everyone else who, it becomes a food fight. And it gets nasty, and it gets destructive, and it gets pathological. And, whether the arguments you're making are sensible and civil and sound and reasoned, or whether they're off the rails, the two juggernauts came at it as a fight for the rhetorical death of the other person. And then they say, let's come together now. And it's insulting and it's absurd. And it backfires, of course. It backfires. It doesn't work. I don't know why there's an addiction to or a romance about a romantic idea that you can have this kind of fight, both cruel and unfair, reasoned and sensible, all mixed together, and then there's always this call for coming together. I wrote about it in my book. I'm going to show you. It's a loose grip. There's a part that I say that there's an absurdity, this idea of coming together. The last thing you ever want to do when, let's say, you're defeated in the election, your point of view, your political position, your guy doesn't get in, the last thing you want to do is come together. And it's not sensible or natural to even think that that should be expected. And yet, in this rhetorical, highbrow manner, that's the reach out that the person claiming victory, or the person who has been victorious in the election, that's the reach they make to the other side. This thing about we're not blue Americans, we're not blue states, red states, we're all Americans. It's just insulting to put this off as let's bury the hatchet and just come together. It's so unreasonable, and I can't use the word insulting enough. With what I'm saying here is not to mean that there shouldn't be some kind of outreach, but not an insulting outreach. Imagine Biden had said something to the effect, this was a very hard-fought, heartfelt fight that I can't be certain how to reach to the other side. I wasn't good enough in my campaign to convince them that my views, my thoughts, the people I associate with, my political philosophy, my policies, I wasn't successful at convincing these people to support what I was doing. How could I presume to know how to convince them to be calm, to go along with what I'm doing? And imagine he said, I don't really know how to do that. It doesn't mean that I wouldn't try to figure it out. And I would, the work goes on. I will talk to these people. But the admission that they're not happy and they're not likely to be happy for the whole of your term. There's reasons they didn't vote for you. They voted for the other guy. And on certain core issues, it would actually be disturbing for people to change their minds so readily. Now, it's one thing to look at a core issue, think it through, have an idea, and maybe through a whole lot of refinement, a whole lot of contemplation and experience and greater understanding, that you might change or shift from one position to another, or refine parts of it. You still hold to the same ideas and positions that you have. You just have certain additional refinements. Maybe that's where the connections can be made from people who have different philosophical perspectives. But some are unbridgeable, and the idea that we're children to the point we can put aside one thing and just go along with another and abandon things that are key to us. I often think in terms of, I fantasize if I had the opportunity to write speeches for these leaders or for these politicians trying to make a case for their political position. I listen to, just like you do, speeches and rhetoric all the time, and I am dumbfounded and struck by the canned things that are said and expressed as if they have no sense of history, they have no sense of understanding of human nature, they have no understanding of how you deal with conflict resolution. That's one of my expertise in working with different factions that have disputes and conflicts. And believe me, communication is not a highly developed art form for many people. Mostly people are pathetic at it. And part of what I would like to express, of course, is I'd like people to get better at it. I'd like people to understand the underpinnings of what good communication is. And the first thing that good communication is, of course, is listening. It isn't talking, it's listening. And it's nothing can be more insulting than having someone lecture you on who you are and what you should think and what your political position is. And if it's not working out for you, and we've prevailed, having different political ideas, you just need to cooperate with us. And this is not the way to do a reach out. A way to do a reach out is to listen and understand that you may not have all the answers. Imagine a leader says, this is a grave responsibility. I think I have enough answers, but I don't have all the answers. Imagine a leader said that. So we're pretty much locked at this time in our history with the same cliches about coming together. And I'm not calling for everyone to just, go at each other in terrible and destructive ways. But I am saying that I don't want people to forget about what their principles are, about their the philosophies that they've developed and have refined and have a lot of a conviction about. But there has to be a way through communication and through honesty. Honesty. I mean, there's a thing that doesn't quite exist in the political arena. That's another subject I want to talk about for another time, about honesty, lies, and how, in many ways, it's lies are normal in obviously the political arena, but lies are normal in a lot of interhuman communication. And there's reasons, and we don't collectively understand that well enough. And down the road, maybe I can explain all that. But the thing is that we have the level of disingenuousness in our political rhetoric is off the charts. And so I think it's important to identify this. I wanted to pinpoint this idea of unity. I'm not, calling for social unrest, but I am calling that we be adults and realize that the best of us have different ideas about how to do things, and unity is not the answer. Discussion and communication and an honest understanding of these differences, and that the differences don't make us monsters and demons to each other. That's what's happened. It's a serious problem. I've seen it my whole life. There are pockets of time when things express themselves in a positive way, but it doesn't happen enough. And so this call for unity isn't the right call. I think it should be a call for understanding and continued communication. So with that, as always, best to you in all good things.